Hi, everyone. Welcome to the webinar. Today, we'll be discussing how to utilize batch IDs and tags from ShipStation with Finale Inventory's barcode scanner. So first, let's start by talking a little bit about Finale. So Finale was established in 2011. We've been e-commerce focused for about the last 8 years. Our primary segment are multi-channel online sellers. We've got 40 plus integration partners. Typically, our primary use is to update stock quantities on selling channels to prevent overselling. And lastly, Finale can easily scale for any business. So as you grow, Finale won't hold you back. A little bit about me. My name is Fred Ferrari. I'm a customer relationship manager for Finale. Before I was working at Finale, I was actually a Finale inventory user. Finale customer, or since I was a Finale customer, I've owned and operated an e-commerce bicycle shop with a physical retail location for 5 years prior to working for Finale. I've successfully trained and onboarded hundreds of customers. So I've got a lot of experience not only using Finale, but training other users to use Finale. Now, one thing I forgot to mention, we're going to have a Q&A section at the end of this presentation. So if you have any questions, please hold them and we'll get to them after I go through the presentation of the barcode scanner itself. Now let's talk about a typical e-commerce user's workflow. So typical Finale customer uses Finale to integrate seamlessly with ShipStation and to import all of the sales orders from every marketplace. When we import an order from Finale, Finale reserves the inventory needed for that order, and within a few minutes, we'll push out a stock update to that marketplace. One of the most important things an e-commerce business can do is to always have accurate stock levels. Finale updates to ensure that you don't oversell on any marketplace. Now, another feature Finale has that you might not be using yet is our mobile barcode scanner app. Now, the scanner app can help you pick and pack your orders and help you increase your picking and packing efficiency. So this is a little flow chart of how orders get into Finale. So you can see the orders originate at the marketplace, then they flow into ShipStation. From ShipStation, they flow into Finale. Once the orders are in Finale, Finale updates the stock levels back to the marketplaces. Now, Finale also has the ability to push orders into ShipStation. Lastly, ShipStation is going to be responsible for pushing the tracking numbers back out to the marketplace. Let's talk about some of the benefits of using a barcode scanner. You can use the scanner to take accurate and efficient stock takes. Locating inventory is generally much quicker. You don't have to rely on that one person in the warehouse that might know where it is. Now you can look in Finale and see exactly where that inventory is. Picking accuracy generally improves. And overall, it tends to be much easier to train new staff. Now, this is a question a lot of companies tend to ask. When do we know when it's time to start using a barcode scanner system? There's a few times that make transitioning to a scanner easier. So if you're moving into a new warehouse, expanding an existing one, if you're introducing a new software, now that could be Finale, that could be ShipStation, could be QuickBooks. If you're expanding into a new marketplace, that generally adds more of a complex workflow. Some marketplaces have different SKUs, so you need to be able to manage that. You might introduce things like kits and bundles, and the barcode scanner really helps with that kind of a configuration. And lastly, hiring more help. So when will you know it's time to use a barcode scanner? Well, that isn't always clear, but there's some great indicators to help you recognize that it may be time to start scanning. Are you having trouble finding your products? Are you ordering more inventory because you misplaced it? And then after you've placed an order, you find the inventory. Now you've got overstock. You have a high picking error rate, slow or inefficient picking process. Do you have a lack of accountability? Do you need auditing capabilities? Do you need scalability for the future? So those are all excellent times or excellent reasons to introduce a barcode scanner. And these are the two platforms Finale's barcode scanner works on. We work on Android OS and Windows CE. Now, unless you already have a Windows CE device, we strongly recommend against getting one and investing in an Android barcode scanner. Microsoft no longer supports Windows CE, and eventually Finale will also no longer support and push updates for the Windows CE devices. The barcode scanner has a couple different operations. It has the purchase order receiving. You can do stock adjustments. You can do stock takes or cycle counts. You can do stock transfers. Now, those transfers aren't just between warehouses. That's also going to be if you're moving something from one shelf to another. And lastly, order picking. Order picking is what we're going to focus on today. So there's 3 different primary methods for order picking. There's basic picking, when you do one order at a time. There's wave picking. Wave picking is a batch picking method. There's pick and pack, which is another batch picking method. Then there's order batches, which is our new feature. So let's talk about basic picking. Basic picking is when you're doing one order at a time. So you're going to print and scan that order from ShipStation, and then you're going to scan that order into the barcode scanner. The scanner then guides you through the warehouse, telling you where to go for the items, confirming that you're scanning the right products. Right? And once you finish that order, you load up the next order and you can begin picking that order. Then there's wave picking. Wave picking is one of the batch picking methods. Now, this process is where you have a batch of orders or a group of orders. You'll generate the labels in ShipStation, and then you're going to have some sort of a cart, and that can be a flat cart with a couple different totes. It can be a cart like this. Now, the concept is you scan the first order, and then you're going to scan that first little bin on the cart. So you're assigning that order to that first bin. Then you scan the next order, the next bin, the third order, the third bin. So not only are you assigning every order a bin on the barcode scanner, the barcode scanner is also keeping track of the inventory that you need for every single order on that cart. And once you've loaded all those orders onto the cart, you're going to start the picking process. That's where you snake through the warehouse in the most efficient manner by your sublocations. So let's say you're selling board games, right? So the barcode scanner might say, go to A1, get a chessboard, put it with order 1. So you scan A1, Finale knows you're at the right spot. You scan the chessboard, Finale confirms that it's the right product. And then you scan the order, so Finale knows you put it with the right order. So we're validating every step of the way. Then it might say go to A5, get a checkers set, put it with order 4. Now get another checkers set, put it with order 7, and so forth. So as you walk through the warehouse, you're grabbing every piece of inventory needed for the entire cart. So by the time you've reached the end, the entire cart has been fully picked. So the only thing left for you to do is to take it to your packing station where you physically box it and put your shipping label on it. And lastly, there's pick and pack. Pick and pack is where you separate the fulfillment process into 2 phases. First, you're going to scan the orders in, and Finale compiles a pick list for those orders. You then go out into the warehouse and you gather the inventory. At this point, you're not separating the inventory to the orders, you're just gathering everything that you need and you're putting it on your cart. Next, you take it to the packing station. At the packing station, that's where you're going to scan each individual order, and Finale's barcode scanner will tell you what to get from that cart that you just picked. And so you're separating the picking from the packing. Now, this method tends to work really well when you have a high number of orders and they all might be for the same 1 or 2 products, right? So it's generally easier to send somebody out into the warehouse to grab, let's say, 200 bottles of shampoo to ship those 150 orders that you have. Now let's talk about order batches. Order batches is that new feature that we've developed. And we've gotten a lot of feedback, and one of the things that we heard a lot is how long it takes to scan in each order when you're doing a large number of orders, specifically for the pick and pack process. So we invested time into that and we built out a feature. The actual picking process itself is the same. You're either going to use the basic picking method or the pick and pack. Now the difference is how the orders are actually going to be entered into the barcode scanner. With this method, all you do is enter the batch ID or tag ID, and it'll load those group of orders instead of having to scan each order separately. So what are batch IDs or tag IDs? Now, in ShipStation, orders are grouped together and assigned a batch ID. So you're going to do that generally to create shipping labels. Now, when you batch the orders, ShipStation will automatically assign a batch ID. Tags, on the other hand, can be assigned directly to the order or to a batch in ShipStation. Now, ShipStation can also automatically assign these tags through automation rules. So depending on your workflow, you might choose to manually add tags, or you have the orders coming into ShipStation, automatically having tags assigned to them. So how exactly is the new feature different than the current ones? So when you use the order batch picking, you're entering the batch or tag ID into the scanner instead of the order numbers. This is used to automatically load all the orders that have that batch ID or tag ID associated with them. Now, there's a lot of scenarios that you'll use this feature for, but in general, the order batches are particularly useful if you group orders by fulfillment type, if you group orders by similar products, if you group orders by picking method, or if you utilize tags to assign orders to pickers. And of course, that's not all of the scenarios. Those are just some of the common ones. So first, you need to either type, scan, or choose the batch or tag in the barcode scanner to use this method. After you've done that, you can either choose the basic or pick and pack. Now the basic lets you choose from any order in that batch. This method is ideal if you want to assign orders to pickers, or if you want to group all the next day orders together, or so when you choose basic picking, it'll show you a list of the orders that are available to pick. And you can choose from that list and pick from that order. It's useful because you won't show any others not in that batch. So if there's 200 orders that need to be shipped, but you've only grouped 20, now the picker doesn't have to sort through all 200. They're only going to choose from that 20 that you've assigned to them. Now, when we're dealing with pick and pack, the nice thing about that is you can type in the batch ID or the tag ID to automatically load all of those orders to be gathered. If you've already used the barcode scanner, you know that this process can take a long time initially. So you would, let's say, batch 50 orders. Now to use the old method, you would have to scan each order individually, and then you can go pick the inventory. This method saves that time, right? You just batch those orders in ShipStation, type in that batch into Finale, and all those orders are immediately ready to start picking. So this method will save a lot of time. So here's a quick reference of what we would consider the ideal picking method for each scenario. And of course, every business is different, so we generally recommend learning them all and kind of using which one works best for you. So from what we've seen is most companies tend to use all of the methods, and just depending on the type of orders that you're picking, you use the most appropriate method. So some common scenarios might be like low number of orders to pick. So let's say you have 5 orders. Right? Basic is generally going to be the most common for that scenario. Now, that doesn't mean you can't use Wave or pick and pack, but generally, basic would be the best. Now, you might also have medium high order volumes with similar items on each order. So you have 300 orders, and they're all for shampoo and conditioner. Now, you can use basic, and you can also use Wave. But in that scenario, pick and pack tends to be the more efficient method, because then you can just go get all the inventory needed for those orders and then focus on separating that inventory to the order itself. And then for Wave, if you have a lot of orders and every order might have a different product on it, Wave tends to be the ideal method for that scenario, because if you're just going out into the warehouse for 1 or 2 of every single product, it generally saves you time to when you pick that inventory, you immediately separate it to that order too. So you don't have to do the packing process. You're doing it while you're doing the picking. And then, of course, the order batch will work for all of those methods. So it doesn't matter if you're just doing 10 orders, or if you're doing 200 orders, or if you're doing Wave and you want to efficiently pick that, the order batch will work. So now let's jump into a live demonstration, and I'll show you how the order batching works on the barcode scanner. You can see it in action. Okay. So I've got a ShipStation account loaded. So we're going to take a look at how the orders are in ShipStation before we jump into Finale and take a look at them there. So you can see I've got a handful of orders. These orders already have a tag assigned to them. I said Fred's going to pick these. These orders have Joe assigned to them. Now these ones don't. So I'm going to show you how we assign a tag to an order. Right? So you might need to set up your tags first, but that's easy. So let's select the orders. We're going to go right here to tag. Now Finale or ShipStation lets you manage the tags, right? So you can add tags that way. Or if you've already created tags, this is how you can quickly assign it. So let's say picker 2 is going to get these orders, right? And now we've assigned that tag. Now when Finale syncs those orders in, If we've added a tag, the Finale will update that tag value in our system. You can also go right here down to the batches. So not only did I add a tag to these orders, I also threw them into a batch. Now, the reason why we're going to rely on the tag at this part is because when we download the information from ShipStation, the tag is only associated with the shipped order. So some companies generate the packing slips, they go and pick the orders, and then they create the shipping labels for them. Right? You might need to weigh the box, size the box. That method is very common. If you're doing that, you have to rely on the tags. The batch ID is not something that you can use. Now, if you're shipping and creating the packing slip at the same time, right? You might have automation rules or products that you commonly know how they're going to be shipped. So you can create the shipping label beforehand. If you're going to do that method, then the batch ID and the tag ID will both flow into Finale. So you can choose to use either one. So it really depends on your current workflow to determine which method you're going to use. Now, for the orders that haven't shipped yet, you can go right down here to the batches and kind of quickly isolate the orders to see what's in it. And see the batch ID, the tag associated with it. Or we can look at the whole view and it'll show you at a summary. And so what I've done on this particular account is I've added the columns to the layout so it's easier for me. Now let's take a look at the shipments. I also have another batch that I'd already processed as shipped, but I haven't marked them as shipped in Finale yet. Right? So the barcode scanner still needs to be used to pick the inventory. So if you're familiar with Finale, you know that when you mark it shipped in ShipStation, but if you haven't used the barcode scanner yet, the order will still be open in our system waiting for you to do that picking process as long as you're configured to use the barcode scanner. So let's take a look at how these orders look in Finale. So you see we imported all of the orders already. We've pulled down the batch or tag ID. Now you can remember in ShipStation, each one of these had a tag and a batch. As far as how Finale prioritizes it, we're going to prioritize the batch ID over, the tag ID over the batch ID. So if you're using both and you don't want to use the tag in Finale, you want to use the batch ID, but you are using the tag in ShipStation, that's just a configuration setting in Finale where you can say, ignore this specific tag, which then Finale would revert to using the batch ID. Now, these orders down here, they haven't updated the tag yet, but we can run that integration and it'll update. So we'll just give that a moment to populate. So while we're waiting for that, we can filter by the batch here. You can sort. Now, if your view doesn't have the batch ID yet, you can go right here to that button. That'll let you add a column, right? Then you can change the layout. Now remember, if it's off to the side, there's a little scroll bar right down here. That lets you move the screen. And once you've set up the layout the way you want it, then you're going to want to save that screen as a default so you can quickly go back to that view. Here. Now see, that tag flowed into Finale the way we wanted it to, so we can immediately start using it. Now that number after the tag is the date. So the reason we use that is every tag is going to be unique. So even though you're using that tag name Fred, for example, you're not going to have 3,000 orders associated with Fred. They're going to be separated and identified by that date range too. Okay, so now let's take a look at the barcode scanner. I've done a little mock-up of a warehouse. So we're going to be working with 3 different products. Okay, we're going to have hand sanitizer, a box of masks, and a box of gloves. And I have 3 different shelves. This first shelf is sublocation AA11. The second shelf is sublocation AA12. And this third shelf is sublocation AA13. All right. So that's what we're going to be shipping today. Now in the barcode scanner, the first thing we always need to do is sync the scanner. Syncing the scanner makes sure that we download accurate stock levels, the orders are up to date, the locations are in Finale. It makes the barcode scanner in sync with the server. I'm going to sign in real quick. Sync the scanner. All right, so now that I've synced the scanner, let's go into the picking process. So we're going to go to pick, we're going to go to order batches, and we're going to either type in that batch ID, which going back into Finale is one of these. Okay, let's get the other screens back up. Okay, so those are the 3 different batches that we have. We can also click that field, which will give us a list. Oops, I clicked it a little too fast. Click that field, it'll give us a list of the available batches to pick. So let's start with, let's do Fred 210128. Right, now we have basic pick, pick and pack, which are the picking methods. And then there's 2 kind of informational options. So there's the batch summary. That'll give us a quick overview of kind of what we've already done with that specific batch. Then we can go to batch details. It gives us more of a general view of what each order is, how many items are needed on that order, who the customer is, what the date was for that customer, and the order number if we need to reference it on Finale. So for this first one, we're going to go to basic picking. Remember, basic picking is 1 by 1. So we can either scan every item. That's the method that you're going to use if you want the barcode scanner to tell you what to go get and where to go get it. Now, if you're just marking the whole order as packed, you can also use that option. For this example, we're going to focus on this first one because we're going to want the scanner to tell us what to go get and where to go get it. So the first thing I need to do is choose the order. Now, since I selected a batch, when I click this field, it'll give us a list of just the orders in that batch. So now I can pick from that list. So I'm going to start with order 100. Now, Finale starts you at the alphanumerical first position in your warehouse. For me, that's AA11. So since that first product is already at AA11, I don't need to do anything. I can just immediately start picking the product. Right? So I'm going to scan the hand sanitizer. Now you can see I have the quantity box. That's a configuration setting. If you want the picker to have to scan every single item and 1 scan equals 1, you can configure your scanner like that. For me, I have the quantity box because the quantities on the orders that I've put are generally high, so I'm not going to sit here and scan it 400 times. So I'm going to scan hand sanitizer right there. Right? And then I'm going to type the quantity, 20. Right? It says item is done. Now we're going to go to the next location, which is AA12. So before I can scan the mask or the box of masks, I need to scan the sublocation barcode AA12. Right? Now the barcode scanner knows I'm at the right location and I can pick the product. So I'm going to scan the box of masks. And then I'm going to type the quantity, 10. Next, I'm going to go to AA13 for the third item. So I'm going to scan AA13, and then I'm going to scan the product, that one right there. Right? And for this one, it's 10. Right? Finale says that was the last pick. Okay, this order is done. So now we need to move on to the next order. So I'm going to follow the same process. Click that field. See, now that order is showing is done, has a green box next to it. So we can move on to order 101. So I need hand sanitizer, 5 of this. So I'm going to scan hand sanitizer. I'm going to type in the quantity, 5. Okay. Now I need to go to AA12 for the next product again. So scan AA12. And then I'm going to scan the product, 18. All right. Now I need to go to AA13. So I'm going to scan AA13. Now let me show you what happens when I scan the wrong product. All right, so I'm going to scan the masks again. Oops. Scan the masks. And I'm going to type the quantity. Now the barcode scanner says X, wrong item, we need to undo. All right, so Finale is verifying that you're picking the right products. So I undo, and then I grab the right product, scan that, type the quantity. All right, item is done. The order is done. So now we can move on to the next orders. All right, I'm not going to go ahead and finish this batch. I'm going to move on, and I'm going to show you a different picking method. So I'm going to go back to my main menu. I'm going to go to pick and pack this time. Actually, I'm going to back out even further. I'm going to choose a different batch. Now you see it's color coding it yellow because we've only picked 2 of the 4 orders. So that's how you can identify orders that are or batches that are in progress. So you can pick up from where you left off. I'm going to choose Joe orders now. This time, I'm going to go into pick and pack. And I'm going to gather the order batch. Now remember what that does is we scan in the orders using the batch ID, and then we go and pick all the inventory needed for those orders. So we're not separating it to each order yet. So first, Finale says we need 650 of the hand sanitizers, right, because it's all of the orders together. So I don't need to scan AA11 because that's where I already am. I'm going to scan hand sanitizer. I'm going to type 650. And now I need to go to AA12 for the next item. So scan AA12. Then I'm going to scan the product, the masks. This one's for 700. And lastly, we're going to go to AA13, and we're going to grab the gloves. Scan the gloves. And I'm going to type 780. Finale says that was the last gather. So all of the orders, items have been picked. So we can complete. Now Finale is going to ask us, where are we going to stage this inventory? Right, so we've picked the inventory. We need to put it somewhere until we actually pack the orders. So on this particular account, I've set up a location called P1. Now what P1 corresponds for me is picker 1. You can name it whatever you want. I chose P1. Right? And it's giving you a quick summary of what you've done. You've gathered 3 orders. You didn't skip anything. And we're going to pack that. The sublocation is going to be at P1. So we'll click OK. Right? So at this point, if somebody else is going to do the next step, you're going to want to sync that barcode scanner. That'll communicate what you've just done to our server. And when the next person jumps into the order, they're going to sync their scanner. It's going to download those updates that you've done, and they can pick up from where you left off. I'm not going to sync it yet. I'm going to go straight into the next picking process. So I'm going to go back to order batches. I'm going to choose. Now you can see that batch that we already worked on is now showing as gathered, right? And it has a purple box. So it lets you know that one is ready for the next step. So I'm going to choose it. And we're going to go into pick and pack. This time I'm going to pack the order, which is how we tell Finale, okay, the inventory that we've picked has now been allocated to that specific order. You can close that order in Finale if it's already been marked as shipped in ShipStation. If it hasn't been marked as shipped in ShipStation yet, then the order will be ready to go. So as soon as you create that shipping label, it'll sync into Finale and close that order. So we're going to pack the order batch. Finale confirms that we're packing from that sublocation that we used to stage the inventory. Now this is important to make sure it matches where that inventory should be, because if we had a different packing sublocation here, what would actually happen is as we pack that order, Finale would create negatives in that sublocation because we're telling the barcode scanner we're getting the inventory from that cart or that sublocation, but the person that picked the inventory didn't put those items in that sublocation, right? So it's very important that we have that match. So we're going to confirm. Now we can scan every item, or we can scan packed orders, or we can pack all of the orders at once. So scanning every item works similarly to the basic picking method. You scan the order, or you choose the order from the list, and the barcode scanner tells you what you need for that order. Now, unlike the basic where it tells you where to go get it, it's not going to do that step because it knows you're pulling the inventory from that picking cart. Right? So you're just scanning the product and it's confirming the quantities and that the product is right. Now, if you don't want to do that step and you just want to look at the packing slip, grab the inventory that you need and scan the order and say, yes, I packed it, that's going to be number 2, scan packed orders. Now, lastly, if you're not using the barcode scanner at this step at all, and you just have your pickers going through the packing slips, shoving stuff in the boxes, putting the shipping labels on it, but then after they finish that batch, they want to tell the barcode scanner, yep, everything in that batch is shipped, it's good to go. That's going to be this third one, pack all at once. And that'll just grab every order in that batch and allocate the inventory properly. So we're going to do this first one, every item. We're going to choose the first order from that list. Let's do order 104. So it's telling us we need 100 of the hand sanitizer. So I'm just going to scan hand sanitizer for this one. And I'm going to type the quantity 100. It says, okay. Next, we need the masks, and it's telling you right there, this is item 2 of 3 for that specific order. So I'm going to scan masks. And we're going to type 100. Okay. And then lastly, we need the latex gloves for 100. Type 100 for that. It says, okay, that was the last pick. This order is done. So now we can select from the list another order. So I'm going to walk through just one more with this process. So we need 150 hand sanitizer, 150. Okay. Mask, 50. Oh, so I didn't type in the right quantity. So we're going to grab a few more. 150 more. Right? And what's nice is it also shows you what you have left on that cart. So you should have 400 left after we did that pick. And then we're going to do the box of latex gloves for 280. And that was the last pick for that item. That order is done. Now for that last one, order 106, I'm going to do a different method. I am going to scan the order as packed. So we're going to skip the process where we're scanning each product. We're just going to tell the barcode scanner, yep, everything in that order was put in. So I can click that field or click that field to choose the order, or we can scan it if we have it. The Finale asks us to confirm, okay, those are the items that you put in that box, right? Yes, it is, pack. And that's it. So that order is done. So we click that field, all 3 of those orders are done. That batch has been completed. Okay. Then lastly, there's the pack all orders at once, which you kind of talked about. The way that we did the scan packed orders, and it just said confirm, it'll do the exact same thing for that one, except it'll have all the orders listed. All right. Now, if you need to change that packing sublocation, let's say you accidentally chose the wrong one at that first screen, you can use that option to do it too. All right. So that is a quick overview, walkthrough of the new feature. So just remember, the next thing that you're always going to do is sync the barcode scanner. So let's go ahead and sync it now. So you can see in the background, those shipments were populated. So Finale tells you that shipped. You can go into the order. Finale shows it as fully shipped. If you go into the shipment itself, it'll have a timestamp and who did that shipment. It'll have the quantities, right? So we have a lot of accountability there. Now, once you mark that order as shipped in ShipStation, this order will automatically close. And so when you're using Finale's barcode scanner and ShipStation, the orders run pretty automatic in our system. So you don't really have much need to actually log into Finale inventory and go into that selling. All you'd need is the barcode scanner and ShipStation. All right, so that was a walkthrough of the barcode scanner kind of in action. Now we're going to open it up to a Q&A. So I have my colleague Ryan, who's going to be fielding the questions and kind of pushing them off to me.
So we do have one question, Fred, so far, and it is there a batch limit in ShipStation?
There's not a batch limit that I'm aware of. My colleague Mike may be able to kind of chime into that one. When you're doing batches, so if you're doing like a batch of 100 or 200, you shouldn't have any issues. Now, we use that date range as well. Right? So if you have 500 orders in a specific batch and it's across 2 different days, Finale will separate that into 2 batches because they'll have different order date stamps. So hopefully that answered your question.
Maybe there was a question, if there may be a question if ShipStation has a limit to the number of open batches, but not necessarily the orders in the batch, maybe like the number of batches that can be open at the same time. I have to check with ShipStation to see if they do have limits on the number of label batches that you can have, but there's not a limit on the tags.
Thank you, Mike.
The next question is, are there plans to include Wavepicking with this new batch feature?
We don't have any plans right now to add Wavepicking to a batch feature. So unfortunately, that's the only method that you're still going to have to do the traditional way of assigning the orders. And I think the main reason for that is it's a different infrastructure. So with the batch or with the pick and pack and the basic, you're loading the orders automatically. With the Wave, you would have to add the ability to also auto assign them to the bins. And that is something that we have been asked for in the past, but it's not something that we have any immediate plans to develop.
And the next question is, where do you get the update for this new batch feature?
So you're going to want to go to the Google Play Store and download it. If your barcode scanner doesn't have the Google Play Store, we do have a link in one of our support documents with the download file. So if you have any trouble finding it or it's not immediately obvious to you, just email service@finaleinventory.com and we'll send you that direct link for you to put it on your scanner.
The next question is there a recommended scanner?
There are several scanners that we generally recommend using. If you go to barcode-arena.com and search Finale, you'll see them. Now the MC40 and the TC55 devices, those are both, I believe, Symbol Motorola's. We typically point customers to those devices, and they might not be the newest devices on the model on the block, but they're reliable, they work, and a lot of companies use them. But since Finale is Android OS based, you can just about use any Android device. And there are a few exceptions. Some models use a data wedge that needs to be configured. So some models have a couple more steps required to get it working. But generally, just about every Android device, and that includes tablets and cell phones, will run the software. But again, if you're going to be using a cell phone or a tablet, we do strongly recommend at least using a Bluetooth barcode scanner with it to actually read the barcodes.
The next question is, what happens if we assign 2 order batches to one person in the same day? Are they merging?
Okay, so that one is something I didn't cover, but in Finale, actually, yeah, let me study. I can show you. So in Finale, in the integration section, when you're setting up that ShipStation integration, there's a list of all the tags, and it goes in priority. Right? So first, it's going to prioritize tag over batch ID always, unless you have that specific tag set to be ignored. Now, when you're in this integration, you can see it'll ask you create tags or batches for tags, and it'll list every single tag that you have currently in your ShipStation. Now, if I have Fred and Picker 1 on the same order, it'll take whichever one has priority. So that means the tag imported into Finale will use Fred. It won't use Picker 1. So we don't merge, we just use whatever's in that priority.
The next question is, are there any other advantages to using batches other than the batch picking?
No. So the order batches is, well, actually, no, I take that back. So if you're not using the barcode scanner, we can still utilize the batch ID in the view screen, right? So you can search by it, but also in reporting. So if you have any custom reports or if you want anything customized, the batch ID is a criteria that we can use for filtering, for sorting, for grouping. So it's just a piece of data that we can manipulate however we want.
As of right now, we don't have any additional questions. Oh, I spoke too soon. Is there a way to track when a batch was started and completed?
Mike, can you jump into that one?
So is there a way to track when a batch was started and completed? No. So it's a very good question. So the scanners are not tracking user activity individually, like when it got started and when it got ended. it's only tracking the end result at the very end.
And the next question is, if there are multiple pickers all putting the products into the same packing sublocation, will the scanner show the correct quantity of the item after pack?
So you can use the same packing sublocation. Now, what it actually is doing on the back end is the picking process is doing a transfer. So if you're in Finale and you transfer something, it's the same thing. So I use the term staging the inventory, but really it's transferring that inventory into that sublocation, and then the packing process pulls it from that sublocation. Now, if you have multiple pickers working on multiple batches, all using the same packing sublocation, the inventory in Finale will show all the quantity that was packed. It's not going to show you specific to one order set. It'll be everything. Now, as you pack those orders, it'll properly deduct the inventory because the picking process is only telling you to get what you need for those orders. So once all those orders have been packed, that order will be completely reconciled and zeroed out.
And the next question is, can we use the pack all at once feature if we skipped an item during our picking process?
Mike, I didn't test that one. Could you jump into that?
Yeah, so so now as I parse that question, if you skipped an item during the picking process, so think about that one. So if you missed it in the gather step, then the scanner did not move the inventory from the warehouse to the packing location. So if you tried to use the pack all orders all at once, and that order had been missed, it will be flagged, and it would actually pack the orders that it could find the inventory for, and it would leave one of them as an exception. So it wouldn't actually pack it, but it would flag it to you going, I don't think you can do this because you missed something in the gather step.
Thanks, Mike.
Maybe a follow-up on one of those questions that somebody had asked about, you had multiple scanners or multiple people using scanners in one packing sublocation. Yeah, Fred answered that beautifully, and I just want to kind of drive home. Always remember, when you got multiple scanners involved, for them to see a correct stock level in any location in the entire system, the multiple scanners have to sync to be able to know what each one has done or did do, or what the current state of operation is.
It looks like I got the same question twice here, so I'll put it out. So this is, if we voluntarily assign 2 batches to the same person, will it merge?
So kind of reiterate that one, Finale prioritizes the tags and the batches. So if you have 2 tags assigned to an order, Finale will take whichever one that you've configured in the integration as the priority. So let's say I have 1 order assigned to Joe, 1 order, and the same order assigned to Fred. If Fred is higher on that priority list, that is the tag Finale uses.
So we'll give it another minute here and see if any other questions come in.
And of course, if you think of any questions after this meeting, you can always email us at service@finaleinventory.com. We'll be happy to answer any of your questions. Or if you wanted a one-on-one walkthrough of this feature, if you're already using the barcode scanner and want some training on it, just let us know. We're happy to help with that.
So we just got another question, and I'll read it out here. So they want to confirm something that you said in the webinar, Fred. So if you pick and pack first, then go back and print the shipping labels later, you cannot use the batch ID, but can still use the tag ID?
Yes. So you can only utilize the batch ID if you've shipped the order in ShipStation before using the barcode scanner. If you haven't created the shipping label, Finale utilizes the tag ID, not the batch ID.
Another question is, a user does not have Wi-Fi in one of their warehouses, and they're wondering, can you scan transfers and then sync it after you're done and back on Wi-Fi?
So the barcode scanner works using Wi-Fi, and it works using syncs. So as long as you sync it prior to whatever process that you're doing, you can go out into your warehouse that doesn't have Wi-Fi. It doesn't require constant Wi-Fi connection to work, right? It's just downloading the orders. You do whatever function that you need to, Then you go back to where there's Wi-Fi and you sync your scanner again with whatever progress that you just did. So to kind of answer your question, yes, you can certainly work in a warehouse that doesn't have Wi-Fi as long as you're consistently updating and syncing the barcode scanner after every major function by going back to where you do have Wi-Fi. Now, one thing I also want to note is we're going to be sharing this webinar to everyone after the meeting. So if you've registered for it, you will be getting a link so you can view this webinar again.
So we don't have any more open questions. We'll just give it another minute here to see if anything comes in.
All right, so it doesn't look like we have any more questions. So I just want to thank everybody for attending. We appreciate the support. And again, if there's anything we can help with, don't hesitate to reach out. I'd like to thank Ryan for fielding the questions and Mike for jumping in on a couple of the questions that I couldn't answer, and the rest of the team that helped me kind of prepare this webinar. So we're going to plan on having more webinars like this in the future. So just, pay attention to the emails. We'll be sending them out as the year progresses. And I just like to thank everybody again. Take care.